This is actually the X Factor project that we have set up for our customers to have a feel of our vehicles and get to appreciate what our vehicles are capable of doing that other competitor vehicles cannot. In this event, we get to have the vehicles drive on the very rough terrains that the vehicles are made for, so that when customers buy them, they understand that the vehicles are not just meant for driving from the office to the house and back. You don't get to use the vehicle as you've actually paid to purchase it.
Distinguished customers who have joined us from all over the country and around the world, ladies and gentlemen, I warmly welcome you to today's virtual event. We are indeed grateful for your precious time. Today's event, which have been dubbed the X Factor Off-Road event, with the X there representing extreme experience, aims to give you, our cherished customers, the opportunity to understand the functionalities of Toyota vehicles using off-road drive terrains. With Toyota's philosophy of providing customers with exceptional vehicle ownership experience, Toyota Motor Corporation initiated this event as a basis for knowledge sharing. As part of the day's activities, we will demonstrate how to use new technologies to make your driving experience more pleasurable and less challenging, especially in difficult drive terrains such as muddy, rocky, and sandy areas. Ladies and gentlemen, our engagement with you today also seeks to receive feedback from you to enhance our product development. I therefore urge you to actively participate and express your views when opportunity is granted for your questions and answers. Once again, thank you very much for your kind participation. Enjoy.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to give you a description or an explanation for a number of terrains that our vehicles normally drive on and the kind of conditions or challenges drivers go through, what they will have to do to unravel them. So we'll first start with a video that's going to demonstrate driving on rumble strips and in curves. Speed breakers, as can be seen in this video, are a normal part of city driving and meant to reduce vehicle speeds. While some drivers fly over them at speeds of 80 km per hour and above, others literally stop at their appearance. Some vehicles become unstable and dovetail when they drive over them at such speeds. The new model Hilux and Fortuner have their suspension systems improved to enable one drive over them confidently, even at high speeds. To achieve best suspension performance, however, vehicle users are required to keep tires inflated at correct tire pressures, replace defective shocks, and ensure service brakes are properly adjusted.
Good morning again, and thank you very much for joining this X Factor event. My name is Brighter Quensivier, and I'll be taking us through vehicle ownership and lifetime cost. I think this is something which we do over and over again. We buy vehicles, we maintain them over a period, and at the end of the life of the vehicle, we try to get some value for them. So we'll look at briefly some of the things we consider in buying a vehicle, how we run it over a period, the cost involved, and then after running it over the period, what we can get out of it. So we look at suitability to the region, whether the vehicle is meant for the region or not, suitability to the purpose, what we want to use the vehicle for. We look at some qualities, and then we come to the cost component. Under the cost component, we look at the initial purchase cost, after purchase cost, and the replacement cost. And these three we categorize as the lifetime ownership cost. Okay, so under the suitability to region, we look at whether the manufacturer has a distributor in that region, the kind of weather environment the vehicle will be exposed to, the road conditions that the vehicle will be operating on. Then also, we look at the purpose of the vehicle, whether we're going to use it for farming, whether it's for mining, whether it's for transportation, whether it's for game viewing, whether for haulage, and even for family use, we look at whether it's for a small family size or a large family size. So these are all things which we consider in buying a vehicle. Then other considerations, we look at the engine type, whether it's for petrol, it's a petrol engine or diesel engine, the transmission type, the brakes, the steering, the suspension type. Other features that we also look at, the safety features of the vehicle. We also look at the impact on the environment. We also look at the restraint system, and some companies are very particular about whether it's a 2-point restraint system or it's a 3-point restraint system. So these are all things that we consider. The fuel type, as I already mentioned, and some aesthetic properties of the vehicle. Then very key among them too is the service outlet, ease of accessing service. And for that reason, Toyota Ghana is always trying to get very close to customers as much as possible to make the after vehicle purchase experience very, very pleasant. For which reason we have touch points in Accra, Motorway, Kumasi, Tema, Takwa, Takrady, Tamale, Sunyani, Ho, and Cape Coast. And there are other considerations which are on the table, and very soon we'll be getting to realize that new outlets have been opened. Then we come to the key area which matters a lot to business owners, the financials. In purchasing the vehicle or in owning the vehicle, there's the bit on whether we want to pay cash, we want to buy it on credit, or we want to lease. And these are all considerations which are going to affect your initial investment cost. Then after the purchase of the vehicle, we look at the maintenance costs. We look at whether you're going to spend more on the periodic maintenance, which is a scheduled periodic repairs that we have to do on the vehicle to replace components which would have lost or outlived their lives. And then we move on to look at the repair aspect of the vehicle, the general repair costs involved. In this case, we'll be looking at whether the manufacturer has granted some warranty for the vehicle or not. Can we move on? Then we also look at the cost of spare parts. We also look at the cost of labor. And one very key thing too, how available the spare parts and the labor that we need to get these vehicles fixed are. The absence of these also have some effect on the cost that you incur in running the vehicle, because if these are not available, that means your vehicle is going to be parked for quite a longer period of time before you get it back on the road. During this period, you are likely to be renting a vehicle, and this is definitely going to be some cost to you. Can we move on, please? Then we also look at fuel consumption. That has a big impact on how much you are going to spend in running the vehicle over a longer period of time. So this is not some cost that you are going to realize or observe within a short period. But as you use the vehicle over a period of years, you are going to see how big this has an impact on the cost of running the vehicle. We also look at the insurance bits, the tax and levies, the consumables, and one other key thing. Is the vehicle going to keep running all the time? This also has an impact on your downtime and then your cost that you are going to incur. Then at the end of it, we look at the resale value. How much are you going to get after the vehicle has served you and you want to get a replacement? And in this case, Toyota Ghana is saying that we have a trading unit which will buy back the vehicle, offer you the opportunity to make some top-up and get a new vehicle. So then you have some good value for the vehicle, even at the end of its life. Now, putting all these together, there is one thing that we try to understand. As a company which is involved in some form of competition, we try to look at where we stand among the competition. So then, putting all that we've looked at together, we try to look at the vehicle cost, maintenance cost, fuel cost, the downtime cost, and the resale value. In summary, there were some observations that we made. Sorry, I have to refer to this sheet for clarity. So, we made some comparisons in these various areas of the vehicle cost, maintenance cost, fuel cost, downtime cost, and then the resale value. Having Toyota as the benchmark, we try to see which company or which competitor's model or vehicle has a higher cost with respect to these areas or a lower cost with respect to these areas. So with the vehicle cost, our realization was that competitor A's vehicle was at 85% the cost of the Hilux, which we used for our exercise. Then competitor B's vehicle stood at 83.3% of the Toyota Ghana's Hilux. Competitor C's vehicle stood at 88.6% of the cost of the Hilux, and competitor D's vehicle stood at 125.4% of the cost of the Hilux, which means that all these vehicles, competitor A, B, C's vehicles, the price were lower than that of the Toyota Ghana's vehicle, the Hilux, and competitor D's vehicle cost was higher than that of Toyota Ghana's vehicle. Then also, in terms of the maintenance cost, we realized that competitor A's vehicle's price, the cost of maintaining the vehicle was lower at 98.9% of the cost of maintaining the Toyota Hilux. Then competitor B stood at 132.3%. Competitor C stood at 259.5%. Competitor D stood at 133.8%. So in this category, it's only competitor A's vehicle which had a lower maintenance cost compared to the Toyota Hilux. Then with the fuel costs, we realized that the lowest in this category was the Hilux Tough, which was at 100%, and the others stood at 148.1 for competitor A, 104 for competitor B, 114.8 for competitor C, and then 160.4 for competitor D. Now, regarding the downtime cost, Toyota Ghana, in this case, the Hilux also had some good gains here. just mainly because we have the largest warehouse keeping most of these spare parts readily available to maintain the vehicles. So then it's reduced drastically the downtime costs in this case. Toyota Ghana stood at 100%, then competitor A 134.9, competitor B 128.0, C 132.5, D 160. With the resale value, this is something which we all know and we are very exposed to. You make a mistake and you put a for sale on your Toyota vehicle. If you take it off, even after 1 day, you are going to have so many calls coming in, people asking you how much are you selling the vehicle, and some even trying to compel you to sell the vehicle to them. In this case, we are saying that the higher the resale value, the better, because we get more money, we top up less, and we are able to get a new vehicle. For the analysis that we did, Toyota Ghana's resale value being at 100%, the competitor A's vehicle stood at 48.7%, which is quite low. Competitor B's vehicle was at 47.6%. Competitor C stood at 50.6%, and competitor D stood at 71.7%. Now, putting all these together, we try to see how much it's going to cost us in buying the vehicle, maintaining the vehicle over the period that is going to serve us, and then how much we are going to get after the life of the vehicle. Putting these together, Toyota Ghana stood at 100%, and then competitor A stood at 116.4, competitor B 109.6, competitor C 138.1, competitor D 152.6. So in summary, what we are saying is that it costs us much lower to have a Toyota vehicle and own it, run it over a period of 5 years compared to the other vehicles in its category. And to top this all up, Toyota Ghana has special packages for our fleet customers to make things more comfortable. We have the platinum package, the gold package, the silver, and then the bronze. So for the platinum, we have our spare parts and labor on site. The gold package, we have all parts and service being done at our facility. And then for the platinum, for the bronze, we give you fixed spare parts pricing over a period. So we are always ready to meet, discuss with you, and make sure we are able to serve you better. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Akwesivi. Thank you, Mr. Akwesivi, for your presentation. Now, I would want to take you through another kind of terrain that our vehicles sometimes happen to be used in. But before I do that, I just want to summarize again the earlier presentation I made. To drive comfortably in rumble strips, you should drive the good brand, which is the Toyota brand. 2, you should service with Toyota Ghana, and you are sure of having your brakes properly adjusted. You are sure of having your suspension also working properly. If you happen to drive in curves, our training department would consistently train you on how to drive vehicles, use the right techniques, and be safe on the road. Now I move to driving on the rocky hills and steep slopes. Okay, now steep slopes and rocky mountains are normally very dangerous to drive on. People find them very uncomfortable to drive on, and sometimes it's expected that you should have some very good experience before you should drive on them. Some of the dangers are, for example, rolling. Your car can roll over, your car can skid. If you happen to be climbing and then maybe your brakes are not done properly, probably you could start rolling back, and so many things can happen. However, when you are driving a Toyota SUV, you are assured of safety, confidence in descending and ascending the hill, simply because all the things you need to know through your experience is taken care of, and all you need to do is just to pay attention and steer the vehicle you're driving on. So some of these are, for example, when you look at this Hilux, you need to simply engage your 4 low, as was shown in the video, and then you start to descend. You do not need to accelerate. You don't need to also apply the brakes. All these things require very high experience. So as a result of that, all the driver needs to do is to steer and to get you to the bottom of the hill. And that's very simple to do. As you can see being shown on the video, the Hilux is being driven and there is no braking done, there is no acceleration. All you do is pay attention to the steering and the vehicle takes you down the hill. With other types of our SUVs, we have some that has the RAV4 that has the multi-terrain select, allows you to choose which terrain you are on. It has, for example, rock, it has mud, it has sand, it has snow. So with these, you just turn the control knob in that direction and then suddenly the vehicle's suspension is adapted to the terrain and it begins to drive you. This is the Hilux again that is climbing up the hill very comfortably, and here you do not need to accelerate, as I mentioned. You just pay attention and steer and the vehicle takes you all the way up the hill. You are also assured of a very strong engine that can take you over any hill. This hill is actually 27 degrees inclined, and you find that as being the steepest hill in our region here. Now you take the Prado also, it has a special feature called the DAC, the downhill assist control. Now with this, you first have to turn on your 4-low. This is a full-time 4x4, not a part-time. So you turn on your 4-low and then you press the DAC switch. Then when these are engaged, then you are ready to start your wonderful experience of descending down the very steep hill. So when you engage them, you notice on the combination meter, the lights indicate that they have been properly engaged, and then you start your descent. So this part of the slope, it was about 25 degrees inclined. And with this, like I said, you would require very high level of experience and practice to be able to know how much to brake, to know how much to accelerate, and all that. And all these things sometimes can confuse drivers if you are not experienced. But when you are driving the Prado, all you need to do is just hold your steer and look forward and pay attention, and then the car takes you all the way down. Now, one other beautiful thing about the Prado also that you need to pay attention to is the front view camera that is normally viewed on the audio unit. Now you notice that with rocky mountains such as these, sometimes you might have rocks you might not have seen or noticed on your blind side. Now when you use the camera view, you notice that you have a panoramic view around the vehicle. Allows you to see rocks very close to your wheels that you would otherwise not have seen if you were seated in your car. You can look very close down, also your blind side to the front. And all these are all places that you can't see when you are driving. So all these gives you so much confidence when you are driving the Toyota Prado. Now in ascending the hill, you notice that the camera view also on the audio unit comes very handy, because with this experience you notice that you can't see the road at all. Okay, so you are driving and all you see is the sky. So you don't know whether you are going off the track, you don't know whether you are climbing on a rock. So all you do is use your panoramic view, look in the audio unit, and you know where you are driving towards. Again here, you don't need to accelerate. And you also do not need your DAC in this case. So you just turn on your L-low, 4-low or L4, and then it just climbs up. And you watch your monitor screen and know which direction to steer. And it takes you safely to the top of the hill. Now with the RAV4 has a special feature called the multi-terrain select. With the multi-terrain select, as you would see shortly, you notice there are rock. There's a feature called the rock. Okay, so there it is. You have a knob that allows you to choose rock, to choose depth, to choose whether you're on a muddy terrain or to choose whether you're on a snow terrain. So as you can see, when it is engaged, as you would see, the combination meter will change to show you what position you have changed to. Okay, so to select rock or depth, you turn the knob to the right, as you can see in the video, and then the combination meter shows you a graphical picture of rock, and then also shows you the torque that is being applied on each of the wheels. Very interactive when you drive the RAV4. So after that is engaged, then all you do is just descend. You can just imagine the amount of control the vehicle has when you are descending down this hill, a very steep hill. With the absence of these features, you are likely to run down the hill, roll over, or something else could happen. But with the Toyota RAV4, you are assured of having a smooth descent down this very steep hill. So as you can see, all the driver is doing is just driving comfortably by just merely steering and not applying the brakes and not accelerating. And it's such a wonderful experience, actually. You can see the wheels are being controlled by the ABS. The ABS feature normally modulates or alters the rotation of the wheel depending on whether there are slips or it's on a rock and all that. A very beautiful experience. Now, when it's also ascending up the hill, the same thing occurs. You still have the kind of terrain selected, and once you move up, it starts climbing up. In the case of the RAV4, it doesn't have the follow. Okay, it doesn't have the follow, but the multi-terrain that you have selected puts all that combined together. Okay, so you don't have to come and select follow yourself, and then by just doing that, the vehicle just takes you up. And we also know that petrol cars normally don't have as much torque as diesel cars. So with this also, you notice that you don't expect a petrol car to be able to climb so easily such a steep slope. But with the RAV4, you are sure of getting to the top of the hill or mountain.
You're welcome to the 21st century where Ghana drives Toyota. They say that 6 out of 10 vehicles are Toyotas on our roads. If some of our participants are from Ghana Statistical Service, I do not have that as a formal, data. But I can assure you that if you drive on our Ghanaian roads and you look around you, you find 6 vehicles around you that are Toyotas. What that means is that Toyota Ghana has to increase its leverage in covering so many of our vehicles and give them support on our roads. Now, how do we become everywhere at every time? It's virtually impossible. COVID has taught us that we should use technology to be able to reach our guests. We should use technology to be able to reach our customers. All right, so the power of technology means that we should be able to serve our customers even when Toyota is closed. And this is where Toyota's website, plays a very vital role. On our website, you can go in there to be able to leave messages for our staff who would answer you when we resume work. On our website, you can be able to view our vehicles and view the features. On our website, you can even go there and go to our WhatsApp chats area and contact any branch at all. That is the power of technology that Toyota is leveraging. Social media is also available where you can reach us on Twitter. We say Twitter, not Twitter. Twitter. You can reach us on Facebook. You can reach us on Instagram. You can watch our videos on YouTube. That is the power of technology. So we say that COVID says that we should go all technology. But COVID has also taught us a very important lesson at the same time. Toyota Ghana services are high contact services. When we had COVID, our service shops were open because we haven't yet gotten to a place where we can give you instructions on how to fix your vehicles. You have to bring your vehicles to us. So Toyota Ghana has a lot of service centers across the country that would see to your needs. So you can see in there that we have a map that demonstrates to you where exactly you can locate us. I'm sure that Mr. Quincy gave us a view of where it is that you can locate us. So you can locate us in Motorway Branch. You can locate us in Accra, Kumasi, Takwa, Takrade, Tema, and Tamale. What this indicates is that there are some branches that are 2S. That means that they only operate with spare parts and sales. There are some branches that are 3S. That means sales, spare parts, and services. No matter what it is, we still can provide you with our full list of services when you visit us in any branch at all across the country. We are still expanding by supporting our services with T-Gases, which are Toyota Ghana accredited sales shops or sales or service shops who can attend to you even if we are not there at the location where you are. So it is very important that we are close to you at every point in time and you can assert our services, products, and any other value that we place on the market. So our branches are not just facilities. Our branches have people, and people treat people. People give people customer service. So you can see in here that
We have our branches and we have staff who are enjoying themselves, and we also have some services that you can be attended to. We have the Tema branch, and we have the BMP branch in short. So we also have some other branches in short. The Kumasi branch, you see their full strength of staff. We have the Tarkwa branch with their staff jubilating with a drum. So Toyota is an exciting company. It's a company where people share smiles. A company where we ensure that once you come for the services that you require, you go out there with a smile and the peace of mind that you need to be able to drive your vehicles safely. In visiting any of our branches, for example, we have an on-site mining support at Achim and Ahafo, where we support miners 24/7, always on the ground, always responding to any faults or any instances that they have. That responding to faults is factored in our DNA, because in Toyota, when faults arise, we quickly solve it before we move on to the next page. So in visiting any of our branches between now and December, I have a surprise for you. Any branch at all, walk into the branch and ask us for our promotions. We have the highest bus deluxe, which has been reduced significantly by about 30,000 Ghana cedis. Just ask any of our branch sales staff, and they are going to give you a very good deal. You can also ask for our Fortuner manual vehicles, which has also been reduced significantly, and our Corolla Cross X. The prices are just amazing. But it's not just about pricing. It's also about giving you some value to go away with. We are providing you free fuel and then 20,000 kilometer or 1 year free service, whichever comes first. So after the prices have been reduced, you also have free fuel to run with, and you also have free service to run with. I don't know what you want anywhere. If you want anything, it's supposed to be Toyota Ghana, where we cover you everywhere you are. Thank you very much.
Now I'm going to take you through another kind of terrain that our vehicles normally drive on, normally called the mud terrain or the muddy terrain. Now, before I do that, I want to answer the question of Mr. Abu Said. He asked where we could get the kind of terrain I described earlier, the Rocky Mountains. Actually, you can get that on the Ebri Mountains. Okay, now there are other places like Nkoko, the Kwewu Hills, and so many other places. You go to the Volta region, you have very steep hills, but you actually get the rocky nature when you go to people's farmlands and certain people's office locations, sometimes that are in remote areas. Okay, and all that. So you get those kind of terrains there. All right. So now I explain to you how our vehicles fare on muddy terrains. Now, muddy terrains are normally situations in which you have the terrain submerged underwater. So it's difficult to predict what you're actually getting into. Until you've gotten there, then you find out probably it is too deep or it is too rocky, and then it is too late. Okay, so our vehicles are again adapted to these conditions by just using the right features that you are supposed to. So in this video, as you see, we have the 4-low again that is used. If it is the Hilux or the Fortuner, you turn on the 4x4 control knob to 4-low. And then again, as I said earlier, your acceleration is taken care of, your braking is taken care of, and all you do is to look where you are going and steer. Now, the beautiful thing about this is that when you get into the muddy water, sometimes you can have the axle sit on the mud such that the tires are not touching. This also would require a lot of experience. As you can see, the tire is spinning, meaning it's not gaining traction on the ground. Just by engaging the L4, then magic, the vehicle comes out. Okay, so there's a lot of experience you would have required in order to be able to move this car out of the situation. But merely knowing the features and using them rightly gets you out of the muddy situation, as you can see the user has beautifully done. Okay, so when you look at the Fortuner also, that is now coming, you can see also the Fortuner has the 4-low also. The Fortuner is also a part-time 4x4. So basically just using the features rightly helps you to drive through any kind of muddy situation with confidence. As you can see, Mr. Eli driving as though nothing is at stake. So again here, he engages his follow. But one thing you would have to note is that it is dangerous to get into the mud, find out you are stuck before you engage your follow. Why? Because when that happens, sometimes it requires you move a little forward, a little backward, then the follow 4x4 engages, and then you can go out. But when you're already stuck, and then you try engaging, and it's not engaging, you need to move forward and back, then you notice that you are in trouble. And somebody has to come to your aid. So it is always advisable that when you see the terrain, you engage the follow. When you turn it to the follow, you notice the follow light starts blinking. When it's blinking, it means it's in the process of engaging. When it finishes engaging, it stays. The light stays on the combination meter. Then you can then drive through and then pay attention to your steering only. So as you can see here, the driver has engaged the 4 low in this case, and is again driving through the muddy water. And this water is actually really very muddy. As you can see how the vehicle is thrown side by side, it's slippery and clay. And then again you can see no braking, no acceleration, as you can see shown in the video, just steering. You pay attention and the vehicle takes you anywhere you want to go to. So when you buy a Toyota, you are assured of these very good features that works perfectly to your satisfaction. And buying them not from anywhere but from the Toyota Ghana itself also enables you to have specialized trainings from our training school. So all these features, you are not only taught at the point of purchase, but you are given frequent refreshers. We contact you and then we invite you in. We have drivers training and we ensure that you use the vehicle rightly and enjoy the vehicle that you have bought from us. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm here again to take you through another kind of terrain we call the loose sand, normally found on beaches. There are some parts of the northern region you go to, not really beaches, but you get there and when you drive into the sand and stop, and then you suddenly want to move again unless somebody comes to push you out of the sand. Okay, but when you come to our region here, we can find that kind of condition at our beaches. Now and again, what is required basically is that you need to get out of the sand. The sand is loose, it makes it difficult for the tires to gain traction, and so it begins to spin and your vehicle cannot move. Okay, so again here, the follow feature we have on our SUVs normally help you to be able to escape from these situations and again drive through your loose sand or beaches very confidently. Okay, so as we can see here, we have 2 cars. We have the RAV4 and the Fortuner. I had earlier explained how to engage for the RAV4. You select the sand terrain. You don't need to engage the 4x4 or the follow. You just turn the multi-terrain select knob to sand, and then suddenly the vehicle can then move on the sand. In the case of the Fortuner also, you just turn your 4x4 knob to 4 low, and then you can drive through. So here again, you don't have to bother about accelerating. You don't have to bother about braking. All you do is pay attention to your steering, and then the vehicle takes you through. One other thing I would want to indicate is when you find yourself stuck in this kind of sand, or even in the muddy situation as we earlier saw, it is good that you shift. If your vehicle is an automatic, you shift your gear lever to the select 1. You know, we have the automatic part of the gear lever on the gear console. You shift it to the left and then you push the gear lever backward. When you bring it backward, you notice your gear select comes down to 1. I think from 6, 5, 4, 3, all the way to 1. When you put it on 1, it doesn't mean you are driving at, speed 1 or gear 1, but it simply means that the vehicle cannot drive more than the first gear. And that helps you get all the torque that you need to escape from the sand or the mud. Now you see in this Hilux, for example, it was almost getting stuck in the mud. Then the follow was engaged, and you saw how, I wish this could be repeated a little to show the viewers how the vehicle with endurance just manages to spin and spin, and you know when it's spinning this way, it's actually supposed to be digging downwards. So when you're driving a normal car and the car is spinning this way, you know you're in trouble because it will dig downwards till your axle sits on the mat. But this doesn't happen. You see that it spins and spins, and then it suddenly goes. And that is what the Toyota SUV gives you when you purchase a Toyota vehicle. So as you can see, the vehicle is able to escape, and you have all the confidence and the swag that you need on driving on our beaches. So this is a little that I would say on driving on our loose sand terrains in our part of the world. Thank you very much.
For customers who are close to the motorway branch, this Saturday we'll have a free diagnosis activity at the motorway branch. You are free to pass by and witness it. You can see behind me that we have TGMO, Toyota Ghana Motor Oils that we just recently launched. We have Automac. We have a lot of services and a lot of value-added products. So you can see in there on the screen what the motorway activity is about. We thank you very much. If you have any further questions, please contact any of our branches and we'll be there to assist. Thank you very much from Toyota Ghana.